Yeah, I mean, I was absolute category 1 for doing that in a lot of my business life, always making changes last minute. It was just, I didn't think them through. I just went with my gut, which we were saying at one point, absolutely.
And you have an element of it that is your gut feeling, isn't it? And your gut feeling is telling you, right, I'm going to make that change. And sometimes absolutely you have to.
And it works.
Yeah, and it does work. But there is an element, I feel, it goes back a little bit to the vision, it goes back to a little bit of, which is not necessarily the vision, but the direction or the strategy is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, do we actually have a strategy for at least the year ahead that's allowing us to know the decisions we need to make? And a lot of time when we make too many of those decisions last minute, you most probably don't have that vision, that strategy, and therefore, yes, it's good to listen to your guts. Yes, it's good to do certain things, but often and not, you could be regretting those decisions.
Yeah, because I think then you're not. I mean, it does come back to what I would class as the boring stuff, doesn't it? You've got to know your budget. You've got to know what the forecast is for that.
I know, it's so boring.
It's
so
exciting.
Boring,
but it's so exciting for you.
Yeah, I love it.
But I must admit, nowadays I'm much more on that level, because obviously I've seen how it can, how it can support and help your growth when you do understand your figures and your budget. And whereas I think when you're just making split decisions, yes, it can feel quite exciting as well, because you're taking a risk and let's face it, most business owners are risk takers, because you wouldn't have your own business if you weren't. You're creative and all of that. So you are like, oh, I want that, or I want that machine, or I want those new chairs, or I want this, and I want this to look pretty. Because you kind of end up that your business place, your workplace, your salon or your clinic or whatever it is becomes your second home.
Yeah.
So you kind of treat it like, oh, I need a new lamp there or something. And that becomes just as important as what you'd buy for your house.
But I think numbers don't lie. So when I do the
with
budget the clients, right, okay, we need to stop with the salon decor. It's enough cushion now. How often do you change them? Because when we complain, or perhaps you're in a situation, I mean, there's two situations. You either have a lot of cash flow or healthy cash flow, shall we say, and you're comfortable in making those fast and quick decisions. And it's very much last minute decision making. It's okay, but it's also a pattern.
Yes.
Which ultimately is this invested in the right thing. And therefore could kind of come back and bite you at some point. So you do need to be quite careful on those last minute decision that you're making on a whim. But the other side to it is the people that have not much cash flow or are struggling on cash flow, thinking, how am I going to pay my staff? And then suddenly go into a bit of a Amazon, kind of trigger happy. Or the stock is not managed or whatever. If you do have that situation, you've got to look at how you're making those decisions. Because if you're unable to I think if you're unable to assess your decision making pattern, which is a soft skill of leadership, you'll find that you are on that wheel of I'll just function that way. But it will come back and bite you at some point.
And absolutely. Because also, I mean, again, I think I've made every single mistake in the book running my business, definitely. And there were definitely times where I bought things on a whim because either I felt like that was the latest thing and we should have it, or one of the girls,
or the area manager came
or
through.
The area manager,
I was just passing.
This is how much you're going to make.
It's the ROI.
Exactly. But then you haven't thought through anything about how you're going to market that, who's interested out of your current client base in that treatment, if it's a treatment, how are you going to make your money back? You've got to train the team on it and so on. And so you've got those situations that you find yourself in, and also situations which I think actually has been another question come up in the time, which maybe we'll focus on, but where sometimes your team want things.
Yes.
And in order to keep them happy, which you tend to do as well.
That's my favourite one,
and you buy it and they're like, oh, it was brilliant at the last salon I was in, it made so much money, I can make this work, and you buy it, and then nothing
she leaves in
happens.
6 months. And you're stuck with it.
Happen,
No, a few of our clients, a few of our members have that.
Absolutely, and then it just happens. So I think definitely the most important thing I learned when I was in the business was to stop and think before, and to, obviously you were my coach back in the day, and to run things past, because I think actually that's one of the downfalls as an owner, is that you feel you're very alone, and especially if you don't have a partner or anything, because even if your partner doesn't get the business or understand, at least you can offload and throw ideas about. But when you don't, you're on your own, and you're just making that decision on your own without having anybody to kind of throw around numbers or ideas with or anything. So that's when, when I started working with you all those years ago, and you were my coach.
Step away from that computer, stop pressing enter, and just think about it. And I think that's the key, is I'm always thinking forward. Even as we said before, if you don't have that long-term plan, it's okay. At least you need to know what you want to achieve by the end of next year. So it's so important to have that mindset. And if you have your budget, step away from the computer. Stop making that decision. Take a step back and think, okay, I'll think about this by tomorrow. And if tomorrow is still there, it's still in your guts, and you're thinking, no, I do need that cushion. It's going to change my life. Or no, I want to take that kind of machine on, or whatever. Or I want to make that investment. Again, okay, then look into it. How is that going to affect my budget? What am I going to do in terms of marketing? What is my plan of action? What's my strategy? It goes back to that strategy.
And will my clients want it?
Because what you want might not be what the client wants.
And that is such a typical thing of owning a business. Again, so when I think I did a video on this for the socials not so long ago, but that you get things because you want them, and because you love it, but actually, have you thought about, and have you asked your clients what they want?
Your target market?
Is it? And have you, your current client base, have you even considered asking them, if we bought this in, or if we changed the seating here, would you like that? How would you feel about that? Or if we've changed our opening hours, or if we go to girls every Saturday off, how would you, because we've had that happen, how would you feel about that?
For sure. I mean, we had, we used to do focus groups, in my, when I was a GM at Bliss, we used to do focus groups with 5 key clients, that kept coming back every week for manicures or whatever. And there was one particular client who was very specific in what she wanted. And I remember one day she was, in the focus group. It was every 6 months, so that literally 2 a year or even 1 a year. It was
a good idea, though.
But it's a really nice kind of way of understanding the client, and especially your top clients. So we just got them for breakfast.
Nice.
I'd ask them a few questions, literally an hour and a half or 2 hours, and just ask them a question. I remember she came back with, we need to have a coat hanger in the back of the toilet door. I was like, for God's sake, we've got a hook. We absolutely fine. There's a hook behind the toilet door for the customers. Come on, get to life. What is that about? And my assistant at the time just turned around and said, Valerie, look, we're in a very affluent part of London. She said, have you seen her coat? It's about 20 grand's worth of coat. She wants a coat hanger. She'll get a coat hanger. And it's like, maybe. The perspective of what you believe might not be what the client believes. Or even the team. It goes all the ways, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So making a decision on an emotional basis usually is never the right decision.
No.
So all you have to do now is press the subscribe button and join us every week for an Insight Chat.
And if you have any burning questions that we haven't yet answered, then just pop in the comments below or send us an email, and we can include them in one of our weekly chats.
And also we have started this amazing community of like-minded salon owners to join us on a monthly basis with our Insight Chat subscription.
On that chat as well, you'll also get access to lots of free downloads and content that can really support you in your business.
And thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.